Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Life Lessons with Joe here. So, I just want to talk about friendships and romantic relationships, right? I have noticed something with people. People like to project their insecurities onto other people, and people like to have you settle for the bullshit that they'll settle. Like, I have been single for a while. I am not settling for anybody. I don't care who it is, what it is, and I think men should do the same thing as well. Like, I have taken a long time to be alone just because I know that there were issues that I had to deal with. I know that there were parts of me that needed to be healed, right? And I was extremely codependent. Now I feel like I've gone to the extreme of like the opposite of codependent, which is being like too independent in some shape or form or whatever the case might be. But I feel like in a way it was needed so I can experience how it's like to be on both sides of the coin, right? So I live in New York City, for those of you that don't know, and I hate this place with a passion, right? And I strongly feel that there has been an agenda for a long time to make men more feminine and make women more masculine, which, whatever. I personally don't want anything to do with the men from here just because I just don't. Now, do I know some men? Do I have, like, I guess, male friends? I guess I do, but no offense to anybody, I just don't want to date here just because I don't like it here, right? So I have had in the past settled, meaning I have gone on dates with people because I thought they were nice, right? But being nice is not gonna cut it for me, right? Anybody can be nice, like whatever. That doesn't mean that I should go on a date with somebody. That doesn't mean you should go on a date with another person. I noticed that because I had issues with like low self-esteem and self-worth, I would accept a date with somebody that I knew I didn't see myself with that, right? And I'm very particular about certain things. I don't have any children of my own. I am thinking of possibly, maybe perhaps not even wanting children at all. Not because I hate children, just because I just feel like I know myself. And in order for me to want to have children, I would need to find a very special, particular man. And if that doesn't happen, then I'm not having children. Okay? I would settle for a life of like, okay, I'll find what the purpose it is for me to do in this world, fulfill that purpose, and travel the world and just be happy that way. I do have nieces. I do have nephews. They're already adults. But I have 3 younger nieces or whatever. And I feel like I'm a good auntie. And maybe I'll just stay as an aunt, right? I hate when people tell people, oh, you should have kids, blah, blah, blah. No, there are people that shouldn't have kids. There's people that should have never had kids. There are people that are not good parents. They're not good fathers. They're not good mothers. So therefore, I wish more people like that would just stop having kids. And I know there's people that tell me, oh no, but Joe, you would be such a good mom. Don't tell me that because you don't know. You don't know. You don't know. I feel like I'm doing society a favor by the fact that I know that right now it wouldn't be a good idea for me to have children and I don't have any. Okay? So, like, I understand that life happens, but for me, like, I take parenthood as a very serious matter. And I understand that sometimes things happen in people's lives that is out of your control. And sometimes people end up having kids with people that, like, they weren't compatible or this didn't work out, yada, yada, yada. I get all of that, but, like, I don't want to be put in that predicament because I will be devastated if I ended up having children with someone that, like, I end up hating or not being able to even have a decent conversation with. I always felt like whenever I had my children, it would have to be with someone that never had children of their own either because I want to experience what it's like for both of us to have our first children together and for me to feel that, like, you know, like, what does that feel like? Like, to be excited that we both are expecting our first children together. But again, there's also part of me that doesn't want to have children. Like, I just feel like, you know, like, I have so much going on in my life. Like, my life is a mess. And so I feel like if I would have children right now, I would be devastated that I will put my children in this predicament. Like, I'm not saying for those of you guys that have kids, like, you know, I get life happens, but, like, I used to be, like, crying to God, like, oh my God, I want to be a mom, yada, yada, yada. But I think sometimes in certain cases, not having kids is a blessing and it's also a protection, okay? Because I think I would have lost my crap if I would have lost my job and then had to financially support children. And having to also find the time to be there for them. And I wouldn't purposely want to hurt them in any shape or form. I think it's amazing when I see some people that have kids that I see them like giving their all in order to ensure the protection and happiness of their kids, and that is to be admired. But I'm very particular about stuff, and I just seriously hate how in the past I have had even some friends that had told me, oh, you should go on a date with so and so, they seem nice. And it's like, I'm not attracted to a person physically, sexually, mentally. And I have felt like, oh, well, I'm not going to find anybody, so might as well just go on this date. And I'm not doing that now. I'm not doing that now. Like, if I'm not attracted to you and I feel like I don't see myself with you, I'm not going to go on a date with you. I'm not going to make you, what's that word? I'm not going to give you false hope to, like, pretending or whatever. No, I'm not doing that, right? So, because I feel like the dating world now is so hard to navigate, and I feel like people are so immature now, both genders in my opinion, so immature, and people are just looking for like the thrill and not really about like coming together as a team to like, okay, like I don't have kids, you don't have kids, do we both want to have kids? Let's have those conversations. What are our dreams? What are our hopes and aspirations? Why do you act the way that you act? Why is your favorite color blue? Why is your favorite color purple? What happened to you when you were a child? You know, like things like that, like to really get to know the depth of somebody, like deep from their soul, right? Not get to know somebody from a superficial level. Because granted, I have to be honest, I had to be physically attracted to the men that I would get with, right? If I'm not physically attracted to you, it's not gonna go forward, right? But physicality is not all that I'm seeking, because I have met people that are highly attractive, but they were assholes and they were stupid and immature and emotionally cold, right? But it would be great if I find somebody that I'm physically attracted to, and then they also fulfill me emotionally and mentally, right? And in New York City, I just feel like I just don't find that, right? Like, I have had deep conversations with men, but I don't see any men here that I could be like, oh, yeah, I want to go on a date with this person. I want to remarry this person. I want to be in a romantic relationship with this person. And I also feel it's because I'm focused on my survival, right? And again, I feel like there has been a war to feminize men. And a lot of New York men have become very feminized. But then a lot of the women here, a lot of us also have had to become a little more masculine, which throws like everything out of balance, right? But do I believe in true love? I'm not sure if I believe in that anymore, because I think love is such a beautiful emotion. And I don't think I have ever been in love with anybody. And for me to be in love with a man, that would take a lot, because I also have people that say that I'm a lot to deal with, that I'm too much, blah, 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 because in the past I used to be a pushover, and now I'm very set in my standards and what I want and what I'm expecting. And the reason why I like to work on myself is because I know that there's things about me that I need to improve, right? And I don't want to be demanding something from a man that I can't even fulfill myself, right? So, yeah, that's what I think about relationships. I'm not going to settle for anybody. I don't want anybody to play matchmaker with me, because I know what I want, right? I know what I want, right? And I know, like, I think when I meet that person, I'm going to be like, this is the person. But again, like, I will have to seriously check to see if I even want to have children anymore, because I feel like I'm traumatized from everything that's been happening. And while I love children and I can play around with other people's kids, that doesn't mean that I want to raise children of my own, because mentally and financially I'm not in the right mental space. And like, when I'm ready to become a mom, that will have to be the most emotionally fulfilling journey, and it will have to be with somebody that also wants to experience that for the first time, and that they're like really, really love children themselves. Because otherwise, if they don't, that's not going to work with me. Because sometimes people get with people that are not who they say they are. And that's why it's been one of my biggest fears. I want to make sure that I find somebody that's like, you are who you say that you are. Because many people will go around disguising themselves in a certain manner and behaving this way until they get you. Excuse me. Once they get you, then they start acting completely different. So I think relationships with people, opposite sex or whatever gender whatever preference you have, it's getting worse because people are just very weird nowadays, in my opinion, right? And so I'm seeking to be fulfilled in all areas. And it doesn't have to be perfect. There could be disagreements, right, on certain matters. But I would have to be physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually attracted to that person first. And then you see like other things. But I feel like also I'm not into hookup culture. I'm not trying to sleep around with anybody. I'm not trying to play house with anybody. I'm not trying to play. No. If you're full of crap, stay the fuck away from me. For the love of Jesus. For the love of God. Do not come near me. Because I can spot people's bullshit. And when someone's been insincere. And I'm not going to settle. I think men should not settle as well. If you want a particular woman, work on yourself to get her. But then also understand that there's also something called rejection. And sometimes rejection can be God's protection. That's what I think. I've gotten rejected sometimes. And I feel like, thank God it happened. Because rejection is God's protection, for sure. For sure. I'm glad that I'm single, right? I'm happy that I'm single. Super happy. Because I don't have to deal with bullcrap, right? Because a lot of people are in miserable relationships. Very few people have healthy relationships. Like the people that have healthy relationships, I admire that. I love it. And I might look at it and be like, okay, there's certain things I can take away from them that I can learn and apply to my life. But there's people that hate being single and they jump from person to person and they will never find happiness, because if you're looking desperately for happiness in someone else, you're never going to find it. You need to be able to complete yourself and then see someone else as like an addition to your life, right? And if they were to walk away, you can still be fully yourself because they haven't taken a part of you. Okay, so that's what I think about relationships and what's been going on in my life with relationship. And I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter about having to get, like, I'm going through a divorce, but I never believed in divorce. And I'm just happy that even though I'm getting divorced, I'm single with no children. Because it would have devastated me, like, to like put my children through that. But again, it's life and things happen. For example, I have half siblings. I have siblings that are way older than me because my dad met my mom, and my dad had no kids, but my mom already had 3 children, right? But to be honest, like, I don't want my children to have siblings or step siblings. I don't want that for my kids. That's just me though. But whatever. That's just what I think. And I feel like I'm not going to be made to feel guilty because people get offended. Like one time I had a coworker, mind you, I would never in a million years get with him anyways. And he had a partner and he was like, oh, he was saying something. I said, I would never date a man that has children. Like, I'm not trying to be nobody's step mom. I'm not into that. He goes, oh, how dare you? You've always been miserable. And I'm like, well, whatever. Let me be miserable then. I don't care. I just feel like, why is it that sometimes some single parents don't want to date single parents? Why do you want to date me that I'm single with no kids? Sorry. That might work for some people. For me, that will never work.